Hi, this is Ronick for Ask.Audio, and we're going to take a first impressions quick look at the new Arturia DrumBrute Impact. Now, this is a smaller version, if you like, than the original DrumBrute, which was released in 2016. It's an analog drum machine, unlike the original DrumBrute, which has 17 analog sounds. This DrumBrute Impact has 10 analog sounds, but it's more compact. It feels, it's great to hold in the hand. It's a little bit different. It's got all the same sequencing potential. You've got MIDI in and out here. You've got clock in and out, USB to connect to the computer if you wish. And instead of having individual outs for every single track, you've now got 4 individual outs, and it basically splits into stems, if you like, the different outputs here. So you've got kick, snare, hi-hat, and the FM drum, and more on that later. You've also got headphones out and a mix output too. First of all, the thing that I love about the DrumBrute Impact are the sounds. You've got a lot of control over the different 10 sounds, right? So you've got the kick, you've got snare 1, the body snare, a clap, you've got the high tom and low tom, which you can select using this button. You can also toggle between a cymbal and a cowbell here. You've got the closed hat, the open hat, and this FM drum too. So the sounds. Right, every single sound has a level. Yeah, that's obvious. So that's all here on the bottom. As you select a sound or a track, you'll notice that the pad lights up. The pads are nice and robust. They've got good amount of feel to them, and yet they're sensitive enough that if you just lightly tap them on the edge there, you'll still get a sound. But you can really go for it too. Right, so got the pitch control for the kick, decay as well. Here's a snare. You get nice sparkly sounds. Now, unlike the DrumBrute original, we'll call it the larger brother if you like, or the larger brute, the DrumBrute Impact doesn't have, as far as we know, the Steiner-Parker filter. It does, however, have its own distortion sound, which applies, when you use this button, it applies, or this knob, it applies to all the tracks. So it'll sound better if I play a pattern, you'll be able to hear. This is without distortion. And that's just halfway. So you can add some real character to your patterns off the bat. So yeah, we'll just carry on and I'll just keep previewing these sounds for you so you can hear them. I love it when, for the snare 2 or the clap, you add more decay and then you adjust the tone. Lots of fun there. Low tom, high tom. Cymbal. Now the cowbell doesn't have the decay knob here or rotary controller, doesn't affect it at all. So there's no point doing that. Okay, as we go on through here, I'll just remind you that the DrumBrute Impact has a 16-step sequencer. You can actually create patterns with up to 64 steps in them. You can also chain 16 patterns to create up to 16 songs in song mode here. And you've got 4 banks, and you can have 16 patterns in each bank. You can do swing per the entire output or swing per track, one of these tracks. You can randomize it. This is so cool. We'll look at that later. And oh yeah, you can do a whole lot more with the step sequencer too. You can also use polyphonic mode, and we'll have a really quick look at that too. Okay, I'm kind of addicted to this FM drum. I don't know if you can hear why, but it's just such good fun. So here's a few patterns we'll just go through. Just just randomly find some interesting patterns. Change bank. Okay, something I haven't told you yet. We have a distortion and saturation, what they call color, per track that you can actually instantiate. So we've got the kick here. If I add color, I just hold this button down, hit the pad, release, and you can hear the difference already. So it's really just a toggle, and it works for every single track. That's without, that's without, that's with. So in a way, it just gives you a little bit more character for every track. Okay, let's check out the step sequence. So I'm going to choose an empty pattern, pattern 16. That's not so empty. I'm in the wrong bank, that's why. Okay. There we go, there's nothing in it. Alright, so how do we start programming? Well, you select your sound first. If you really don't want to hear the sound when you select it, hold down Shift and select it, and you'll notice that you don't hear anything. Alright, but let's start programming our own pattern. Right, so we select the sound, then we just simply add the steps we want for that sound. Oh, we need to be in step mode. That's one of the main things. So basically, when it's blue, you can go with the steps. Now, of course, we could add these in ourselves, or we could record them in. Why not? Hit the record button again, and we recorded it in a quantized way. Now I'm just going to add some hats, just add them all the way across. And one thing I want to show you while we're doing this is we can choose random for everything, or just for this track. So we can randomize the actual pattern. So for current track, which is selected because it's lit up, I'm going to hit this button here, the current track, and then move the random knob, and you can see the tempo value. Well, the value here instead of the tempo changes, and you can hear the difference. Listen to that randomness. I really love that. Just even if you add just a tiny bit, you can add enough variation so it's interesting. An ever-evolving drum pattern. What more could you want in life? All right. So a couple more things I want to show you as well. If you want to erase a pattern, if you do, hit erase, hit the pattern. This starts flashing. I'm going to select pattern 16. Oh look, it's gone. Great. All right, so a couple more things we can do. Okay, let's check out polyrhythms, which basically means you can have individual rhythmic meters for each track. So this could be they can have a maximum of 3 steps. The snare can have a maximum of 4 steps. The decay can have a maximum of 15 steps, etc. And then you can have interesting rhythms generated, which you wouldn't expect from a normal 4/4. Okay, so to start this, we're going to hold down Shift and go into polyrhythm mode to make sure that's blue. Let's go into step mode on the pattern we're on. Select the sound. Hold down the last step, hold down the last step in the sequence you want for that track. So we'll choose 3, release, and I'm going to input the first trigger for step 1. Let's check out the snare, last step, we'll do step 5, and trigger that as the first step of that. Let's hear what it sounds like. Already sounding kind of interesting. Right, let's add some hi-hats. We can do this in real time as well. So the last step we can do as, I don't know, step 10. And then we'll just input, say, go back to the kick and say, you know what, let's do the last step as step 7. And input another. So you can hear already, you can get some very interesting rhythmic stuff happening. And there's more you can do. Of course, we can change the tempo here. We could have changed all that. That's just using this knob here. You can insert a metronome on here and turn it on, adjust the volume. You can solo different tracks. So with this, for example, we could solo just the kick. Very, very simple. Mute, say, just the kick. Simple as. Obviously we can do that color trick, add a little bit of saturation. We can also add distortion across the entire mix, not so keen on that for this one. We can adjust the swing, which you can then see here. Musically there's a lot of stuff you can do. You can also insert triggers in almost unquantized. It's almost completely free. It's still to a grid, but it's much looser. You just simply hold down the shift button and then hit record, and then you can actually play in the pads as you wish. One of the features I really love as well is, well, let's clear this pattern actually, and pattern 16, so that's now erased, so that's clear. So we'll just create a really, really simple pattern. So that didn't work so well. So pattern 16, got to go to step mode, and now you can insert the pattern of your dreams-ish. Should also mention that you're not restricted to this length. Of course, you can have up to 64 steps, as we mentioned before, and you simply extend the length here, and you can see at the very top a little light for 16, it's 32, 48, 64, so you can increase the length of this and navigate, just like in the DrumBrute original, using these arrow buttons. I mean, personally, I'm really enjoying using the DrumBrute Impact. It's just a little bit smaller, more compact, more manageable for me. It's really rugged, really well made. At the price, I think it's really good. I'd love to see it a little bit cheaper, but we're talking $150 cheaper than the DrumBrute original. Yeah, it doesn't have those kind of wooden style trim sides. Not really bothered about that. Some people might say that this is more useful for electronic artists or EDM kind of music. Yeah, electronic-y stuff. I think so, but I like the sound. I think I actually prefer these sounds to the original DrumBrute. So, okay, let's get on to the roller here. So, the roller, you hold down the shift and then you hit the step 9 to activate roller. And let's see. If I'm in roller mode, as you can see, nothing happens when I use these step repeat, the touch strip. But when I hold down one of the tracks, the pad, you can hear it immediately. Okay, so if we stop this for a second, right, if I take off roller mode, we'll go just to step repeat, which basically repeats or beat repeats or whatever you want to call it, the entire output. So now as soon as I hit any of these 4 divisions on the touch strip, you can see what's going on here. And then of course we can shift back to roller and just do this for an individual track. So that's kind of cool. Oh, one thing I should also show you is that, again, holding down this lovely shift button, you can choose the playback for this particular track. So at the moment where the grid is in 1/16, we can slow this down to 1/8. So you can immediately, in real time, slow down performance. And speed it up too. Okay, so that's basically an overview of what the DrumBrute Impact is all about and what it can do. There's so much more, of course, that you can really explore these sounds. You can sync this up with your MIDI gear. Those outputs are very useful, not maybe as useful if you want to output every single track. Then you'd be looking at getting the DrumBrute. And that's perhaps more suited for those in the modular synth world that want to output specific tracks. If you're running it to your Mac or your PC or to your computer, or you just want to record it in a kind of DAW-less kind of fashion, then I think the DrumBrute Impact is a really, really good drum machine. And we're just scratching the surface of what you can do. That there's so much you can do, and most of it is the creative process side of things. So I'd really recommend checking this out. I believe they're going to be available, or they'll be shipping in August time of 2018, so not long to go. I hope you've enjoyed this overview, and if you do, then do subscribe to the Ask.Audio YouTube channel and like the video, and check out Ask.Audio on the web as well, and our academy. Thank you for watching.